Hi, I'm Greg.
Hey, I'm David.
How's it going out there?
If you could hear us, just let us know in the comments. We've got a few people in there. Be really, really good to know you can hear us before we get going. I'm just gonna keep up with comments on the phone too.
I don't know that we're getting any audio. Oh, yeah, we are.
Who says? Oh. So, how's everybody doing? Got two folk. I'm still waiting for my audio to catch up here. So, if you guys can hear me, just send a yep, we hear you in the chat there, and we will continue on.
If you're still in the chat.
Yeah, maybe you're gone. Maybe you're gone. Maybe you like us had a Coke break. I mean, an undescript beverage that's not demonetized break.
And you're just testing audio?
Yep.
If you're still in the chat.
Yeah.
Good.
We got a little bit of Darth Vader going on, but that's okay.
All right.
The bit rate on the mic's a little low, so you get to hear us in baritone.
Ooh. Okay.
Cool.
So, Happy New Year.
Yeah. Happy New Year's, unless the Chinese one, because that's later.
That's a little later.
Yeah.
It's all good.
2020, we're here.
We made it.
So you guys in 2019 have been awesome. I didn't think we were gonna hit over 1,000 subscribers in 2019.
That blew me away too. That was awesome.
So you guys are all awesome. We're gonna talk about a few things today. Kind of what happened. The two biggest events, I guess you could call them, in 2019 for home desktop 3D printer kind of things.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll take a few guesses as what's to come. But Greg, do you want to kick it off?
Sure. 32-bit boards. They started taking off this year at a reasonable price, which I think everyone started getting on board.
Yeah. No, you didn't have to pay duet prices.
Yeah. Which is and it was more accessible with the next topic, Marlin.
Yeah, Marlin 2.0.
Marlin 2.0 0.1.
Yeah, who knew, right? So I'm gonna go on a bit of a rant in a second, but we had those like $35 controllers, and then there was that need to disturb the Marlin code, and they did that, and they did it relatively quickly. I mean, we had 32-bit code that could drive those new boards, but it bothers me a bit that they call Marlin 2.0 a release candidate. For me, a release candidate is something that's frozen in time and will not change, which means this is our version, this is it. And they still have nightly bug fixes, which is separate from the release candidate. But the fact that they released 2.0.1 says that it wasn't quite packaged. But hey, 2.0.1 works great. And if you watch any of our videos, insert 2.0.1 for 2.0.0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is working really well. And yeah. I also noticed on their website, they have a little button now. You can do dark mode.
Yes, you can.
And it looks actually pretty cool. I like it.
Dark mode's pretty sick. The other thing Marlin did, and I don't see it as like a disturber in the compilation side of Marlin firmware, but as you know, on this channel, we like VS Code a lot. VS Code and Platform IO are two IDEs that work together. Platform IO compiles everything for us for Marlin, and Marlin actually built an auto build feature. And if you're one of the many people that downloaded and can't quite figured it out. We got a video coming on that, but basically you're missing some of the build source in it. You'll have to install a language pack that they don't mention. So
yeah, I even went on their GitHub and I didn't see anything on it. So
yeah, it's completely kind of out of the blue. I noticed that all of the documentation for the auto build was in OS X on Mac.
Yeah.
And Mac actually has that
built in.
Because it's Linux Unix, right?
So when you're on Windows, you're screwed.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, nobody ever thinks of the smallest operating system. Wait a second. Windows isn't small. But that's Marlin 2.0, and they're doing some good things. There's even rumblings of an OS that could run on Marlin boards.
They released it around the same time that they started the development of the newer Marlin 2, but it really, if you look there hasn't been any movement on the development.
Fizzled at the moment, yeah,
at all. So they call it the Realtime OS. So there's lots of real-time OSs out there.
There is, yeah.
Prusa in their Mini has installed a real-time OS on their Mini. And there's controversy on that one because if you want to change the firmware on it, you have to actually physically break a piece off the board in order to then flash your stuff, but then you've destroyed the board technically, because not destroyed it, but you've modified it so then they don't have to warranty the hardware on the board. But I understand why they did that, because they have a real-time OS and then they have the code actually for the printing, and it's a lot more complex than just having the firmware for a printer, because you've got to deal with the OS. So if you put the wrong libraries in, you could easily mess things up.
So,
So I do get it, but it's also kind of frustrating. But I mean, that's right.
Yeah. And I think that it's important to note that with the Prusa minis and even the MK3, I think is this current one, but
3S.
Prusa has developed an in-house farm software for those printers.
Oh yeah.
So that's, and you're getting the same board that they're getting when he throws it into his production lineup.
Huge amount of development has gone into these. So, and they are they want to make sure it's as stable as possible. So controlling the ecosystem and not having people change parameters that are untested, I totally get that.
Yeah.
So, and then if you want to do a farm now, it has all of you get all the same software that they use when they're manufacturing the actual Prusa printers pieces from their additional farms. So that's pretty awesome. So
yeah, and I mean, Bruce actually has blog posts out too. He's made a few about accessing the API for Octoprint and actually building your farm together, which is part of the reason we haven't touched it, because that already exists. He's done a great job. We'll reference it probably maybe in a community post here coming up, but he's done a great job developing the community, at least in the FDM. I know he has his SLA right now.
Yep.
But the FDM side of things, he's really pushing. So
yeah, and I know there's development on the Core XY Prusa coming out, but we don't know if if it's going to be 2020 that it comes out, or if it's
someday
next year. But they are working on that, and I'm sure that'll have the real-time OS in it also, because it only makes sense if they've just released it for the Mini. That's kind of their trial balloon on get all the bugs out and then slowly work up to it. And I'm sure they'll have some sort of upgrade for to the MK5, whatever you want to call it, where they have a hardware upgrade, because they seem to do that. They keep the boards and the system, and then they just give an upgrade kit to give enhanced features. So I'm sure they're going, maybe can do an electronics upgrade and get a real-time OS on a Prusa. Maybe that's their goal first before the Core XY. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, we don't work there.
I don't have a Prusa yet at all.
No, me neither.
So
maybe one day. The thing for me, and it's always been the thing for me with Prusa, is the price tag. When other i3s are coming out at $300 to $400, Canadian $1,000 is a pretty hefty price tag. When it comes in at, it's not a small build volume, but it's not a big build volume. So like, it's just one of those things I haven't got into yet. And the Prusa Mini, there's so many positives about it. It's good. I just don't want to be on the bleeding edge of that one either. So
they are proven though. Their quality. I've seen the prints come off of them, and so far I haven't heard tons of negative about Prusa.
Oh no, there's
like when they print, they just print.
Yeah, you hit go. But that can be said about my CR10S and my Ender 3.
Definitely not the Legend.
And my Predator, yeah. So, I mean, the Legend, we'll talk about that. But before we talk about Legend, I kind of want to talk just a second about our review policy and what makes a printer, I guess, positive or negative, right? And for me, at an end of a review, a positive review would have to be something that prints out of the box. And
no modification.
No modification, and let's just say decently out of the box. Like if there are a few issues to like maybe you got to tighten a belt here or there or something, but it needs to be mechanically sound and print out of the box and not electrocute me.
Yes. You saw that other live stream. David got electrocuted when we did our setup of the first Legend. And I say first Legend, so just to be clear, I found all the issues. It would not print right away. It didn't have the eccentric nuts. It didn't have... There was just so much wrong with it. I sent off pictures and a list to Big Tree Tech. They ended up responding and said, okay, we have a few other people that say these are issues, and they ended up fixing those issues, and they sent me a repaired unit at no cost. So basically I got two printers for the price that I paid for the original printer. But the first printer still didn't print. Nope. So I had to invest money in and put eccentric nuts in it and do a lot of work just to get it to the point where it prints. And
order V-wheels. And
and we still have V-wheels coming in to replace because the quality is so poor. So there was a lot going on. Now, the review was specifically on the repaired one that they sent me, which still didn't obviously pass muster.
Well, I mean, I think would I buy one? But like, I think an important thing, and you touched on it, is the back and forth with the company too. They were clearly willing to help you with what they can.
Yep.
And hey, they did a lot of work inside that machine and sent you another one for a review. And so the company itself, like, kudos to the customer service. I know some people have had issues, in the forums pleading for help, but like, that's not my experience. I think that they do a wonderful job at listening to their customers and iterating. And I do believe that one day, maybe iteration 3.
Yeah. So I think, they have some decent products out there. I think doing your first printer build, you know, that, and putting all those pieces that you sell that are good quality together, and then taking a clone of something else and adding it and try to mash it together, but you not having the experience to really understand that eccentric nuts are important.
What?
Like, I mean, you're selling 3D printer stuff. You should know why each piece works the way it works.
Yeah.
They cloned the TiVo, but they didn't print the same ducts that the TiVo had just to direct the airflow. Also,
Yeah, and
you know, there's little things they rushed it out, and they what they need is a proper research and development department, where I don't know if they have that. Maybe they do. I don't know, but I'm not. I'm not, you know, saying that they don't, but they clearly, from the pictures I saw of them with tables of printer setup, printing and working out bugs and stuff. I think it was really early for them to try to rush something out, and I don't know what the larger one's like. I've only worked with the Legend, but yeah.
I mean, to be fair, Creality was that way in the beginning of their existence. They would send, not even that long ago either, when the CRX came out, they sent the first model out, and there were issues, serious issues, and you know, you got in touch with them, they fixed it, they send you new parts, whatever it was. But now when you look, there's a more polished end result, but it's an iterative thing with them. You know, you can say, hey, I have an Ender 3 Pro, but which one?
Yeah, there's like 4 versions,
right? Like,
I hope it only gets better, because I think the frame was decent. I mean, the airflow on the bottom was horrible. I had when you're obscuring the power supply fan with a grill, and it's mostly all solid metal on the bottom, that's not good.
No, and that's those are the little things that really shouldn't make it past QC.
Yeah, no, I understand the build quality of the actual metal and the tin work and whatnot was fine. Like, the engineering part of that piece was fine. The packaging, not so great. The second one was actually also partially damaged in customs. So when customs opened it, they didn't repackage it as well as it was the first time. Oops. So I had a bent piece, which I was able to luckily straighten, and then it was fine. But there's little things like that, and I think not having all the parts of the unit you're selling in the store when you're selling it. So if I wanted to buy a replacement piece, that I have a problem with, because they use the TiVo,
because the O jumps over and it says E.
Oh, there you go. The hot end, they don't even sell it on their website. They sell the Volcano, the heat block, and they sell the other pieces, but they actually don't sell the other piece. It's like, well, okay, but you're selling this printer, wouldn't you also sell the piece that, just in case someone broke it?
I think they rely a lot on third-party marketplace stuff, though, too, because that's I mean, Creality's the same, Anycubic's the same. They don't have every single, but I agree, right? Like, if you sell it, you should have parts to
but
back
they
it
sell
up.
other hot ends. They sell quite a few other complete hot end kits that are their brand. So why not utilize their stuff, which they have, which looks like it's decent quality stuff, in their own printer design?
Yeah.
And see, I think that was the issue, is they borrowed someone's printer design. They didn't actually come up with their own.
Well, I mean, I haven't used it, and hey, if you want to send us one and we'll review it and give you some honest feedback, but that Thunder, the big version, of their printer too. I mean, I've seen a lot on it. I haven't used one, so I can't be like, hey, it's great, hey, you know. But like same thing, it's missing parts from the store.
Yeah,
and so
I mean, like I said in the review, yes, it has a 32-bit board. Yes, it has some great features. The build surface, amazing. Like it really is. It's things stick to it. It cools down. They pop right off. There are positives to it.
Mm-hmm.
The first one I've got, I put a total new cooling system on it, and it actually prints decent now. You know that, but I'm still getting the bad wheel.
But
issue.
to be clear too, it prints decent on PLA.
Oh yeah, I haven't tried anything else.
I think if you go higher temperature, like even to the PETG and stuff, like might run into some issues. But
well, I will be trying that, and like I said, I'm gonna keep track of what. So far on the original one, my costs are around under $50 so far, because it was eccentric nuts, some PLA to print the new mount and fan.
All 3 cents.
And then the V wheels, which I haven't even installed yet.
Yeah,
because they are not here yet.
No,
so
like next week, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's all we could say about that for now. Really, I think one thing we wanted to kind of circle back on and see, you know, we wanted to talk about what's coming 2020, what to look forward to, really, and in 2020. For printer wise, I mean, we've been disturbed this year by resin printing.
Yeah,
it is something that I haven't brought into my house because I have pets and they will die if it's not ventilated properly, and I just don't have that kind of time or money to put into ventilation just for a $300 printer.
Yeah.
So, but that's definitely a disturber. If you like minifigs for like games or that kind of thing, I can see resin being a even bigger disturber in the coming year. So
I hope they can figure out some less toxic resins, because I mean that's the biggest thing is you can get autoimmune issues and whatnot if it's on your skin.
Yeah.
So having the proper cleanup, the proper ventilation, that makes it a lot more complex.
Yep.
So hopefully, I mean, Prusa's got theirs. That's great. Hopefully things get better. And I think they only will. But we'll see. Maybe there'll be a new technology that rivals that. Like maybe metal printing will come down to the consumer level.
Sure. I mean, last year the biggest announcement, I forget the company, but they said, "Hey, we're announcing affordable metal 3D printing," and it, more affordable, but it was still $10,000. So I mean, for a home user, I think metal 3D printing, it's just not going to be there for a few more years.
Okay, let's not say affordable. Let's say hobby metal printing.
For hobby level 3D printing, I can't see it yet. There's the other disturber, I guess, and it's kind of a circle back, would be Core XYs are coming back in, and you know they're great. They're fast. They have a stable build platform. They're overall a solid machine, and it's weird because lots of people think they're new, but it's one of the oldest designs out there, but it's coming back. Like Big Tree has one. We just saw, what was that other one? The Bluer? Not Bluer. But from the same Two Trees. Sapphire. That's what it is. Yeah. And we've seen them coming out, and they're in their infancy again because they're going through an iterative design.
Yeah, and I think it's the costs, like that. The costs of all 3D printing in the hobby line has hit a point where all the pieces are now a reasonable price. Yeah, there's not a $200 board. It's a $20 board. Yeah, it's not $300 worth of drivers. It's now $40 worth of drivers. So we're at the point where you can now have 6 drivers for tool changers and this and that, which that was very expensive for someone doing a hobby. But now if you can build your own tool changer for $200 or of add-ons to maybe a printer you already have, that's where the innovation and the disruption is going to start to come from.
Yeah, and I think amalgamating technologies is a big thing. I mean, even if you buy a crappy kit now, you've bought enough components to make it an awesome kit, right? Which is cheaper than going out and buying components. But like, we talk disrupting and that stuff, and we should mention the Hemera. The Railcore, yeah.
I think the Railcore are cool.
I think this sums it up. Wait, hold on. This way. Yeah, the Railcore is a great do-it-yourself idea. If anytime you glide on linear rails, I hate. We'll throw it out there. The 3D Printing Nerd has the Railcore review from 2 years ago, I think now, but it's great.
Well, and then there's other companies that have adopted the Railcore style, right? So that's nice to see. Like, what is that? They just did Teaching Tech just did that review of
that clone.
So there's a guy. It's like just one guy. He's designed this Core XY with rails and whatnot. I can't remember what's.
I'm gonna use my Google fingers.
But it's got rails and everything, and it looks pretty good. So
using my Google fingers. Yeah, it's called SK Go. SK Go is the one that he's doing. And it it looks like a good kit. It had some problems building it, but yeah, I mean, do it. Railcore is awesome. One update I'm going to do to my Core XY this year is oh man, now I can't remember the name of those things.
Oh, the
exoslides.
Exoslide.
I'm gonna fire some exoslides, probably just on the X gantry for now. See how it works, because I don't see a lot of wear and tear on the Z so much, but the X is always flying back and forth.
Yeah.
And that's causing a bit of wear. So I think those exoslides would be good. If you haven't seen the exoslide, it mimics, or they try to mimic linear rail.
Yeah. So
they're using V wheels to hug.
Well, they're not V wheels. They're just straight almost bearings directly on the rail. It's pretty sweet. Individual one, you're still having issues with your screen.
Boom.
Oh, there's the
exoslides. So yeah, I'm gonna throw those on and see exactly. That's my plan, and they've got tons of kits. And we're not sponsored by Exoslide. I just think it's awesome, and if they wanted to send me one, I'll use it.
Individual one, I've responded to your last comment. I did a second video on the screens that the corruption on the unreadable font is when you flash it. If you just flash the bin file, it doesn't flash the new font update, so then you get the corrupted fonts. So if you watch that other video, you need to take whatever the latest copy to your SD card folder for the appropriate screen. So you would take the TFT 2.4 folder from the GitHub, put it onto your SD card, stick it in. It'll update all the icons, and it'll also update your font library. There's 2 or 3 different files that it updates in the the font folder, and that will then it'll reboot, and then you will be able to read your screen and it'll be usable again. And to switch, if you need to switch from the Marlin mode to the other mode, just hold your button down and it'll come up and allow you to switch between the touch and the non-touch. I really like the new icon look. And they have the live icon so that they've put the temperature right on the icons and everything. So give that a try. It should fix it. Everyone that I've seen definitely fixed once that the additional fonts were loaded in there. So
cool. Yeah, no, that's good tip. Because lots of people are doing it.
Yeah, and those are popular screens, and I do like they're very well supported, and they keep iterating. They tease some of the options that you can do in the firmware. They're exposing through a menu in the next version, where you can tap the menu and you can just instead of it uncommenting and commenting, you can literally toggle them on and off right on the screen itself, which will really help people who maybe don't use VS Code or don't flash.
That's true.
Because then if you just want to use your printer but you want to try the other style of icons, you can just hit the little toggle and it flips, and now you reboot it and you're in that different mode, which is quite cool.
Yeah, I mean, that's a neat feature. They've done a lot of things this year. With like the boards and the screens that have upped the game for other companies, but they've also done the legend and some iterative design things that they should be like, oh, maybe we'll release that next year. But I see that they have an Amazon store now, so that's cool.
Yeah, but it's only .com.
No, CA. I was on it last
really?
night. Yeah, but they've only got boards.
Oh well, they got to start. They got to start somewhere, I guess. So you're trying the dual nozzle, eh? I haven't gone there yet. There's a couple of different ways of doing that. And so it's something I plan on trying. We at work have just ordered a pallet, so we're going to try that out and see how the palette works. So that should be cool.
Oh yeah, no, we're not taking it down. The only thing we're gonna do with the video is we'll cut off the first 20 minutes where it says stand by or whatever. The one thing I'll say, independent dual extrusion. So you have IDEX, which is independent dual extrusion, which means two extruders moving separate hot ends along the and that one works well. That one is going to be similar to the FormBot T-Rex, or the FlashForge has one. There's a few different ones out there, and those ones work well because, well, they work well and they don't. And the reason being is usually there's two BL touches involved or two auto levelers, and that works great because it takes out that leveling issue you see with things like the like a Chimera hot end. I think those ones have the two nozzles in the bottom of the same heater core. So basically you get two nozzles, two lines in, and then it just drags that around. And the Chimera, you're not going to like what I have to say, but you'll hear it. The Chimera is hard because you have to make sure that that you have everything level.
Yeah.
So you have to level all of the nozzles.
It has to be completely parallel. Otherwise, you're going to be hitting your print, and that's actually one of the reasons why some of the original multi-material printers, whether it was the Cubex, they had one.
Yeah, Cubex.
There was a number of them. That was the big issue. Is the nozzles are hitting the other piece. So having your MMU2 style where you have the one nozzle and you're just switching the filament.
Yeah.
That's why those took off a little more because, it's more complex in the back end, but where that you're actually printing is the same for single printing or dual color. So, or dual material, whatever you want to call it.
And that's the other thing is like, are you looking for multi-material or multicolor, right?
Yeah.
Because when you look at that, you have to think, okay, well, if I want multi-material, then I need to have a separate environment almost that can heat up hot enough on one, or not hot enough, or less hot for PLA and hotter for ABS, and then you can start mixing materials. Yeah. But like, there's nothing wrong with the Chimera. It's just, it's going to be more work to make sure that those nozzles are going to line up. Now, purging is another thing.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
A little known fact: every single multi-material on the planet
has to purge. It does. Yeah,
except the palette too.
No, well, it purges too.
You could switch it though.
Yeah. So the palette, because it's switching it in line and timing it knows the length of your Bowden and whatnot. So the amount of material that is used in the purge is a lot less, or zero if they've timed it right, and then it purges on the interior of your model, right? Because then you save material. Whereas I've seen where your purge block is 4 times the weight of your actual print.
And like that happens when you're like, like a little print this big, and then you have different color eyes. It's gonna purge double the size of your object just because you have black eyes in there. And since like, let's say the top of the model, do I have a model? I gotta have a model. Whatever. Let's say we're printing something, and the top of the model, top half of the model is where the different color is. It has to print the purge block all the way up the model on the edge, and then purge beside it. And that's, that is one of the downfalls of, I guess, FDM. Because in theory, if you could print far enough away from your model, you could have your purge block only be, 1 millimeter versus 10 millimeters tall. But, purging, it's a fact of life with multicolor stuff. Like, the palette kind of gets around it, but palette has its own drawbacks too.
Yeah, and that's what we will discover that once we start working with the palette. Where I see promise of less purge blocks and issues is tool changers, and I do think that allows for a lot of potential with whether it's you have the same hot end on 2 different tools, and you have a little prime solution when you change tools just to wipe it just before, because then you don't need a prime tower.
No.
And there's no material change. So
2 in, 2 out, no purge. Okay.
I hope it works.
Yeah, that's all I'll say.
Post some pictures of your prints once you get it working.
Yeah, post them to the group.
I'm really interested. Put it on our Facebook.
But every time you switch a material, you have to purge. Even if that, like, the reason I say that is...
You at least have to wipe.
You have to wipe, because if you're printing with nozzle A, and then you need to switch to nozzle B, a different color, it's not going to be primed. Right? Like,
You at least have to wipe somehow. So...
Hey, yeah, but let us know. Like, that's a cool... Like, I've seen the Chimera, and it's always intrigued me. And there's actually lots of... There's that one from Earth. I can't remember. I'm sorry. But the guy basically used static switches on the side of his printer. I think he had an Ender 3, but that doesn't matter. But, like, if he wanted to switch colors, his hot end would go boop. against another switch.
Yeah.
And then it would switch colors. And then he used the Y gantry to switch the other one. I'll find it. We'll put a link in the description. That one was $100 per 2 colors.
Yeah, it was pretty reasonable.
It was reasonable priced, and like, again, and that one's 4 in, 4 out. Well, I guess 4 in, 1 out.
I think you could stack them.
Yeah, you could.
So you could it had you put a Y on your Bowden tube, right? Is that the one you're talking about?
Well, it comes up and it had 4 ends, and then there was 4 Bowden tubes.
So then there's another guy from Earth.
There's a different guy.
Where what they did was they actually have a on the Bowden tube they put a Y adapter so you can have 2 filaments, and then further up they put another Y. So you just have to retract the appropriate distance to push your filament back through, and so that's pretty cool. And that was like I think under $200 also.
Yeah.
So you
did micro switches to stack everything. So like really you could have 6 because you could have a switch on the X and Y. X, Y, and then you could put a switch on the Z too if you wanted to hit up. I think you are right.
That's the one, the chameleon chameleon? Yeah. The chameleon. That one looks pretty cool. So
basically,
I want to look that one up.
The original MMU was kind of supposed to work like that,
right?
And this guy figured it out. But like when it comes to multi-material, we mentioned palette, and I think one of the biggest. So we talked about Chimera, Chameleon. Palette is that 1 in, 1 out splice core.
Yeah.
Right. I think we all know it's by Mosaic. It was the company, but the biggest problem is you have to use canvas to slice for it. So if the company ever goes, you don't have canvas no more.
Hopefully they open it up. Apparently, I'm online. Is that Ronan or is that Nick?
Which one of you is Greg right now? But that's multi-material, and I mean my favorite one right now is IDX, and that's 2 heads because you just move it, it wipes, and then it keeps going, and you knock down the need for a purge tower.
That's true, and
it's easier for bed leveling if you have 2 things that can kind of move. Yeah. Versus the one static thing with 2 nozzles. So. Yeah.
I mean, if you have a perfectly true bed perfectly true gantry, it's probably going to work great.
Yep.
So,
I think the other, independent dual extrusion isn't new, but it's something that's going to become more predominant in the next years to come. I'm not sure if it's this year or next year. The only reason I say that is because most of us are proficient with a single extruder FDM, FFF kind of machine now, and a next step after owning all the different kinds of. So if you have a Core XY, if you have a Core XY, a Delta, and some Cartesian i3s, the next step probably would be looking for something that can do dual extrusion. Mm-hmm. For me, I am of the camp that I will print it and paint it if I want it different colors.
Yeah, I haven't gotten into the fancy painting. I think I Sharpied a white thing to make it look like a cow.
We painted a white dog black at the retreats.
That's
right?
True. That's true.
I mean, so I'm finishing models. I'll be honest. I print models that I like the color of when I have finished printing it. And lots of functional stuff too.
There's some pretty talented model finishers out there, though. Like they I'm amazed at some of the finishes they do. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, cosplay is huge. I've printed some parts and stuff, but I don't finish them. Like I printed the big Darth Vader helmet, and then I'm like, I don't want to finish it. Here you go. And hand it off to the next person, and like it, Richard Cleveland up at First Layer there, he finishes models fairly well.
Oh yeah,
like,
he's pretty
his
talented.
stuff is he's got like 8-part tutorials on how to paint stuff, and I watch them and I go, I'm a programmer and my art side is musician, right? So
yeah,
I could never paint things. That's not my.
I can paint things. I just
I
don't
can paint.
Enjoy it.
Yeah, physically.
I like the creation side of things.
Yeah.
So whether it's playing around with Fusion 360 and doing a design, that sort of thing, that I really enjoy creating something from nothing.
Yeah.
But normally the thing I create is what I wanted. It's not. I don't need to fancy it up with colors because it's more of a practical thing than it. Yeah.
So. Masks are a huge thing around Halloween, and I think, did I do one this year? I did one last year. I don't think I did one this year. I got Stacy, my wife, into 3D printing by hooking up AstroPrint, and she just clicks the print button. So I printed like piggy banks and other things, and she's learning. And I think that's another disturber.
Yeah. Is
accessible 3D printing for everybody. And AstroPrint, is that one-click print. What's that?
My artistic outlet, it's going to sound funny, is decorating cakes.
He's a cake.
I did you mentioned Deadpool. I did a Deadpool cake for a friend. Turned out really well. I think it's on my Facebook page. But yeah, it's pretty good. So I got a question, individual one. What or HVAC? What printers do you guys own? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I think a question that we can pop up, and we'll pop up a community too. Aside from that would be, we do a diverse smattering of topics. Mm-hmm. Is there, and I guess this is a question for people watching now or going to watch in the future, or maybe they're not going to see this or hear the question. But, what do you want to see more of? Do you want to see us inside the computer screen coding? Like that, I that's my area of comfort. I like to type and type a lot. I think explanation of hardware is another type of video that we do. Mm-hmm. Slicers, and then we do builds and reviews when we're rich enough to buy new machines.
and we fork out the money ourselves.
Yeah, we're poor, so that's why you don't see.
So we're not in this to make money. We're in this because we enjoy it. I have
an ANET A8 and a custom cube. Nice.
A8S.
Well, the safe version. That's what the S means.
I have an ANET A8 as well that I have completely gutted. So that is no really longer. It still has the frame.
Well, that's like that Ender.
Right.
The only thing left of the Ender on it is the little dragon.
That's true. Yeah.
Same thing with my CR10S. Actually, the only printer that's still a printer, that the way it came, was that one, the Predator.
Yeah.
Predator still, right?
Yeah.
So, ANET, and the cube is something you're building, right? Or going through the process, I think, if I remember correctly. So, no, that's cool.
So my printers are one fully working Legend, one partially being rebuilt Legend. I have an ANET A8 that I have very much rebuilt. Mm-hmm. I have the Anycubic Chiron. I say Chiron. Everyone gets mad and cringes when I say Chiron. But
where does the O jump over?
It's like the Bugatti.
Prusa MK2 and a CR10S in pieces. Yeah. Well, that's. I think for me, when I have printers, and I have 4.
Hi, Kevin, by the way.
Yeah. Hey, welcome. I have 4 printers, and it looks like HVAC has a few. Yep. Sweet. So, like, if one of my printers go down, in my mind, they're all offline. Right? So, I run into that. Well, this hot end on this one's not working. I can't print anything ever. I better fix this one, which is a lie. Because of all, like, my CR10S, the control board burnt out, what, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
And that's after tens of thousands of hours. And so, but it was down, and like literally I had 3 other machines sitting here to print with, and I had to fix that one before I could print anything on any of them. The cube has a 12 by 12, so 310 by 310 by 310 for those Canadians.
Do you have obviously if you're doing ABS, do you have an enclosure on that thing just to keep it nice and warm while you're printing the ABS?
Or do you hug it while it's printing to keep it warm?
Well, you could.
I don't think that's a good idea.
No.
Dangerous.
Off-gassing.
Not if you blow on it. I have a Predator.
Hi, Simon.
Simon, what up? Tiva Little Monster. I have just ordered a what? Oh yeah, a cube kit. Yeah, nice. Yep. So I see you have both. So Simon, I'm gonna throw this at you. Which one do you like better, the Predator or the Little Monster? What's better for you, Predator or Little Monster?
Now, Dave and I have both used the Predator. He actually has his own Predator, and we have a Predator at work.
And I have built and used the Tiva Little Monster at previous work.
Right.
So I'm just curious what your thoughts are. For me, I'm just going to throw it out there. We haven't actually done an official review. We did the build, but not a review. But the Predator, holy crap. Great printer. I've never had a print fail on it. Okay, well, when we didn't have it leveled, it was failing a lot. But, like, I've never had any issues.
What? And when you had the setting wrong slicing.
You got to make sure that the slicer's not set to the wrong firmware type.
Predator.
Predator, yeah. Right? And
the price is decent
the Little
for the
Monster.
Predator.
Did you? It was like, I want to say the Predator was $369 during Boxing Week.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, like, man. I would have had that over the leg. No problem.
And it's a Delta, right? And now how fast Simon, what's the fastest print job you've thrown at the Predator? Little Monsters and bits. Yeah, that's how they work. The fastest I've done on this one, or not on this one, the other one in existence, I did 180 millimeters per second. But that's when the little arm fell off.
Oh. Yeah. So luckily under warranty they replaced the arm.
But like the Little Monster is in bits, and that describes the Little Monster not only when you get it, but shortly after you've assembled it. I mean, it does print well, and when it works, 100. Yeah.
I think that's
reasonable.
That's a safe speed for sure.
Now, I'll ask. This is a funny question too, because I see a lot of Ender 3s popping up in that list.
They're good printers.
Hey Greg, how fast have you printed on an Ender 3?
I cranked it out pretty fast.
So we had it printing at 200 millimeters per second. Then cranked the flow and there was no limitations in the firmware.
So just a caveat, it wasn't the stock board.
No,
we had upgraded it to an SKR board
with 2208
with no limiting on the hardware.
Nope.
And cranked the speed up on that sucker, and we just started turning the knob up just to see how fast we could go.
So we finished the little tiny, but this big rocket.
Yeah.
In about 10 minutes.
It was vase mode.
Vase mode.
But the quality, not so great.
Yeah, it melted at the top.
But holy smokes, did that thing fly. I was very impressed.
And comparatively to like the Clipper, thing. And you know, Clipper was a disturber in the field of 3D printing for a while there, until 32-bit boards came out and made it completely not useless, but have rendered it less useful. The one thing with the SKR, the 32-bit board, is if you want to use 6. We call that a hang printer.
Wow,
That's nice.
That's crazy big.
So the 32-bit board,
or is that 6 inches?
No, I think he's talking feet or millimeters.
Well, he was inches before, 12 by 12 by 12 by 12 inch. But you went 6 foot by 6 foot by 6 foot?
I've upgraded.
Wow.
Nice. Anyway, the 32-bit boards, if you want to access their full capability, make sure you set high baud rates. And if that's impossible to do because of your screens, make sure that you're printing from the SD cards. But I've never run into a problem with any of my Octoprint instances. I am upgrading the TiVo to a duet with Mag. Yeah, now I've looked at the Magball arms, even upgrading for my Predator here, which I think is cool. But did you know another option to the duet is the Tri-Gorilla Pro? Doesn't have Wi-Fi, but it's a 32-bit control. Well, I know, but I'm just saying he's putting a duet in the TiVo.
Oh yeah. Well, okay. Did you guys also see that?
Or the
Big Tree Tech has their new
passenger drone nice
board out coming out. It's supposedly a duet style competitor.
Yeah.
It's going to have expansion on it for additional steppers. I think it comes with 7 stepper.
If I remember
spots?
correctly,
And then
it
you
has
can
7 spots, and you can expand.
Or is it 6 and then you can expand it?
No, I thought it was 7, and then there's the expansion.
It's crazy.
Board.
So and it's very similar. I think that is going to be their duet official competitor. So
when that comes out, I'll buy it.
we'll have to see. Hopefully they've got all the quality control. They seem to do better on their electronics than they do on their printers.
I don't know. Like I've had what do I got? 1, 2, 3 boards, and in all fairness, I've installed that other one, and then you have how many?
I have 3. SKRs,
so let's call it 10. Who cares? Rounding up. Of all those boards, one went back DOA.
Yeah. So I'd say that's pretty good.
So we had 10 boards, 1 goes away. That's 90%.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to make sure when you buy this stuff too. Unfortunately,
passenger drone.
Yeah, I know, right?
Wow.
Print a passenger drone.
Okay.
Test it. Throw it in right away. Fire that thing up. Don't let it sit in the box for 3 months and then decide to install your board.
Yeah, no. Don't do that.
Yeah, so I mean, when we talk disturbers, I think that's the big list for I guess 2020 to come is exactly what we're talking. There's more duet-ish boards. There's more resin coming. There's more Core XYs coming.
Do you guys have anything you've heard of or anything that you are looking forward to this year, in whether it's hardware, software upgrades, to is there something that you're looking for? Individual one, you've mentioned you're doing the dual extrusion.
Yeah, I mean,
on yours. Anyone else got anything?
Well, I do.
Okay.
Last year at Christmas, so 2018 Christmas time, rewind. We had an announcement from Simplified 3D.
Oh.
That Simplified 5 would be coming out. And then this year, we've had an announcement that, hey, next year, so in 2020, early Simplified 3D will be out. And, I mean, so like...
Is it vaporware?
Maybe. I mean, you kind of know me from some of the videos, but I'm a slicing nerd, too. So I've used like Prusa, Kira, Idea Maker, Slick 3R, the ISO, so IceSL, like I'm on Path.io, love Path.io. Once that one comes out, that's a disturber. But and I've used Simplify. And right now, as it sits, Simplify 3D version 4 is completely, okay, I don't want to say completely, mostly irrelevant. It was a disturber when it came out, but right now, with all of the other slicers out there, it is irrelevant.
Well, everyone's iterating so fast.
Yep.
Like you look at Slicer has been split off into Prusa, and the Prusa
They're on like 2.1.
they're on 2.1. I think 2.2 is coming out. I mean, it's working really well. I've got a couple profiles tuned for my printers. The Kira 4.4.1
So here's the thing.
is working okay.
Yeah, and 4.4.1 wasn't a fix except for two things that didn't affect anybody that didn't use, I think, Ultimaker.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but Kira is Ultimaker products, right? I love Prusa Slicer. Simon, me too.
I do too.
Yeah.
There's a couple of things when you use Prusa Slicer on a non-Prusa printer that
It's a little weird.
Works a little weird, but once you get the hang of it, oh man, it's the. I gotta say though, my favorite thing right now is tree supports. They work so well, and they break away so nicely. I kind of wish Prusa had tree supports.
Yeah,
but they have so many other types of cool modifications you can do in the slicing and the supports and everything that it's kind of depends on what you're printing on which slicer you're going to use.
Yeah. And we came up with a video called Prusa Slicer to the Kira Killer.
Yeah.
Something like that. And let me be frank here, folks, for a second. It did not kill Kira for me.
No.
However, it did replace it as my go-to daily slicer. So everything that I just want to throw at, Predator. I love my Predator profile for the Prusa Slicer. Like, it works amazing. And we've got all our, I think we've got all of our.
David has all his.
Oh yeah, okay. I have all mine. Slicer profiles on the www.3dmakeit.ca. And
that's our website.
It's our website. So I've got all mine. So you can check out what I'm using. But like the Kira 4.4.1, wow, has some weirdness with vase mode. It's actually closing in the top a little bit at the end. And Weird. They're working on it. And then I've also seen a lot of people in Kira specifically struggling with OpenGL2 or their video card dying. And I will throw this out there. Any computer I run Kira 4.4.1 on, I have to run it with the most insane graphic settings. So it's always set high performance, never sleep, high clock speed, and then Kira runs.
I think they need some optimization
for sure. And like I mentioned, Path.io. Now, if you haven't heard of Path.io or Pathio, it's a beta right now, but from the E3D team.
E3D, and I think they're working on developing it with their tool changer in mind and a few other things. So I tried one of the earlier versions of it, and they were still missing some stuff. So I definitely have to
screen share. Oh yeah, so this is the Pathio. So it's pathio.xyz. You could sign up for the beta, and the more people using it, the better, because we're helping them out. But Pathio, yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of setup right now because they don't have a lot of machines.
No,
like they got like one. If you're using Creality, I think they do have
probably the Ender,
CR10S and Ender.
Yeah,
they don't have the Predator or any Delta. They have a Delta box though, so that's good. My coupe only works. Oh, of computer. Yeah. Gotcha. So slicing wise, simplified 3D 5 is the original topic.
Yeah.
They're falling behind. Come out already. And we've been waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting, and
They need to really wow everyone with something revolutionary.
Totally.
Otherwise, it's just going to go.
Well,
fizzle.
especially since they're charging for it again.
Yep.
Right? Like, you don't get the upgrade like you used to. You have to pay again if you're not within that one, whatever, 6 months grace period or something. I forget what it was. But, yeah, so we'll see that the Pi 4 came out for not specifically printing. However, it gives you a better interface and a faster management for, well, and I see we have Repeatia host listed there. Octoprint, Astroprint.
There's so many
right,
good remote ones.
Print 3D Printer OS. So those are kind of the big things that like we've seen, but like coming up, yeah, I think we might see simplified 3D, but it's too late for them. E3D just launched the Chimera.
Yeah, which I am gonna put an unboxing video out because I did purchase one.
What?
And then I want to know feedback. I'm gonna put in the video, and so comment in the video when it comes out if you end up watching it. What printer should I put it on? Should I actually put it on the Legend?
Yeah, so basically, you're gonna upgrade the Legend with a parts that cost almost
as much as the Legend.
Well, I mean, but that's
maybe
fair.
I don't know. I'm not sure where to put it. It is quite actually. It's heavier than I was expecting. It's like 345 grams. So that's what 12.5 ounces or something like that. It's actually quite heavy, but when I'm looking at it, it's almost identical to the ANET A8 original design, only with better engineering and cooling.
Yeah.
So I'm like, and the original A8 one worked fine, but this one's going to be a lot better for materials. I bet.
Can't say that now. You have to put it on and use.
Yeah, I agree. In theory, it should. So
yeah, simplify. I love that comment. Simplified 3D better be really good before I buy it again.
Right? Yeah, it's because
there's so much community stuff going on now that like companies, that want to charge like especially a lot of money. Like it's not $20 or $50. It's an investment.
I get there's a lot of money that goes into development. I get that. But it depends on which way you go about the development.
Yeah.
And you look at Kira, and you look at Slick 3R, you look at Prusa. They're all going the open source route, right? And so it's not in-house proprietary, whereas it went the other way. So I mean, it's
and I mean, like you said, depends how you want to make your money. But I don't see. Like they should be partnering with Dremel, right? They should get into something and knock down that price a bit. But like going back to the Chimera, I agree with the filament. I think it's going to be amazing for flexibles and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
However, with great weight comes lower acceleration.
Yeah, I don't expect to be printing 100 millimeters per second with a high. I do think on a Core XY design where you already have a lot of pieces, if you're simplifying it to the Chimera, I definitely think that is a good choice. I think that would probably do a really good job. And I don't think you're adding a lot of weight because you're taking off quite a few pieces, and all you're dealing with after that is your cooling.
Yeah.
So I think in a Core XY it would fit fairly well. A Bowden Core XY would be so light, and I think that's where the tool changer stuff can come in.
But
right?
why not the then you'd be looking at the Bowden Chimera.
Yeah, or well, any
Chimera?
yeah.
Chimera.
Or that's what I did in the video.
I'm just gonna flip this over. Boop. Oh, hey, look. So Micro Swiss has a new hot end out as well. It's again machined aluminum.
And look, it looks just like it has the hot end from CR10.
It does. This is their Micro Swiss replacement for the CR series hot end, and then they attached it with the new aluminum wheel plate for the direct drive, because lots of people were doing the direct drive, so they've just made the kit basically, but it's kind of the Chimera option.
It's very
for the
it looks
CR10.
pretty constrained to the path.
It is. It's very constrained. Like you're talking like maybe 30 millimeters less.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's very constrained, and it could be a disturber, and that's one I want to get my hands on too. My cube is also a Core XYZ.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's one thing. The Ender 5 is not a Core XY. No. Right? Core XY, the motion has to happen differently. So just because you have a bed that goes up and down does not make it a Core XY. No. So Core XYZ, the motor actually, the belt serpentines around and in. Around.
It works like an Etch-a-Sketch.
Oh, it totally does. And then it turns into
it's a giant Etch-a-Sketch.
So it turns those motors, and then the head moves attached to one belt based on which way they pull. Yep. So I mean, giant Etch-a-Sketch. I like that. So, but that was simplified, and we got the Chimera in there. What else?
That tells you how old I am if I remember an Etch-a-Sketch.
Just don't turn my printer upside down and shake it, please. Clean the print bed off. Right, and the bed doesn't move, and that, I guess that's the other part of the Core XYZ.
Yeah, because
the bed, the
gantry moves up.
Yeah, so
that must be very stable. So that's what you do your masks and helmets and stuff on.
Oh yeah.
Must be.
Yeah. So the advantage to Core XYZ Delta, the fact that the bed doesn't move means your acceleration can be huge. Because you're not throwing this giant, like, I don't even want to imagine, like, the like torque? I could do the physics if I were, like the potential energy of a bed going forward. Yeah, we could work out that physics and see what the loss is, but it's to jerk it and stop it. Like that's where the jerk control comes in on those printers.
Well, linear advance is the next thing that I'm starting to play with.
Yeah, and that's been around for a bit, right? But like linear advance is definitely the next step, the next evolution for extrusion. So that way you can match your extrusion pattern to your printer's jerk and acceleration. So yeah, but it's been really good hanging out. Chimera on the CR10S. It's been really good hanging out with you guys, and there's been some good questions. We'll obviously be doing this again, but we wanted to say hello in 2020 right away here, and we'll be putting a few more quick videos out.
Yeah, I've got a couple of goofy ones that I'm going to put out and whatnot. But anytime, if there's questions you guys have, or you've got suggestions for videos, throw them up there. If we can do them, we will. If not, we'll do our best to either answer the question if we can't do a video about it. Yeah. But thanks a lot for all your support, and
Happy New Year's, individual.
Hopefully this year's going to be a great one for all of us.
Yeah, 2020 is going to be awesome. So you guys are awesome. Thanks for following along for the last hour and a bit, and as always, have a good one.
Bye.
Thank you, Dave.